he started bringing me free leftover pizza. I thought, free food, why not? Unfortunately, I've had a lot of creepy encounters throughout my life. When I was younger, I used to work at the food court at my local mall. I was about 16 or 17 at the time. The food court was filled with creepy guys, but they generally kept their distance and would check out the girls from afar. I would occasionally be hit on by some of them, but nothing serious. I just ignored their comments or tried to be curt. I had a bad habit of being too polite for fear of confrontation, which kind of plays heavily into this story. Anyways, there was a man working at a pizza place a few shops down from me. He was an older guy, in his late 40s, and he barely spoke English. He oddly took a liking to me, which I didn't reciprocate, but I didn't want to be rude about it. It started off innocent, with him just walking past and smiling, saying hi and whatnot. Eventually, he started bringing me free leftover pizza. I thought, free food, why not? However, it slowly progressed into him bringing me chocolate in which he would actually go out and buy a huge bag of, specifically for me. I always made it a point to give it all to the employees at my store so it wouldn't look like a personal gift, but never told him that's what I did with it. I was beginning to get creeped out due to the age difference, and he was increasingly giving me more and more candy. Sometimes he was coming by just to talk to me. He was always obviously checking me out, and it made me very uncomfortable. My managers knew it made me uncomfortable, but thought it was harmless, and even encouraged it by calling him over when I was working. By now, most of the other workers in the food court knew of his infatuation with me, and would just laugh about it. He would come over and ask where I was on my days off, when I would be back, or just generally asking about me. Eventually, I found out he had a wife and daughter, who was my age back in his home country. I thought this was really weird, because he was obviously hitting on me. I finally got annoyed enough, to the point of ignoring him and refusing his gifts, which he continued to try to give to me up until the point that I stopped working there. Before I tell this story, I just want to let everybody know that it didn't make any sense to me at the time. Construction. Yeah, you hear that? Sick. Before I tell this story, I just want everybody to know that it made zero sense to me at the time, and it's still a difficult story to tell because of that. Anyways, here goes. When I was about 10 years old, my parents and I went to the mall one weekend in Jacksonville, Florida. We did this all the time, so it wasn't anything unusual. We were walking back to our car when a woman walking with a limp approached us. Let it be known that my dad also walks with a pretty clear limp. She asked us if we could give her a ride to the Home Depot across the street because her car was over there and it was out of gas or something. She explains herself a couple more times, and while doing so, changes the destinations of where she needs to be dropped off. First it was Home Depot, then it was Lowe's, and then it was back to Home Depot again. Only one of these places is actually across the street, which is more like 6 lanes of traffic with no ability to cross, so it's not a crazy request. My parents are kind, if not somewhat naive people to say the least, so because it was the right Christian thing to do, in their words, they agreed to drive her across the street. I'm sketched out by her immediately, just because everything seemed really weird. She just keeps talking and trying to give us different explanations for why she needs a ride. We finally get to the family car, and I accidentally dump all of my toys that were on the back seat onto the ground to stall for some time, just because I'm really creeped out and I don't want to get in the back seat with her. I take my sweet time doing this and trying to pick them up. My dad starts the car, and we're about to drive away when a cop comes up to us and tells us that we should not give this woman a ride, as she's a former or wanted, I can't remember, criminal. This is kind of the part that still doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe I misheard it at the time or something. But what I do remember is him stopping us and being adamant not to give her a ride, as it was a bad idea. She got out of the car and walked away normally with no limp. She didn't put up a fuss, she didn't say anything, she just walked away. I'm guessing she was just some kind of grifter, just a petty criminal or something like that. Probably did this kind of stuff all the time. It just bothers me knowing that she could have mugged my parents, or hurt me, or hurt them, or worse. Maybe it's not the creepiest story out there, but for me it's more about what could have happened. I was at the mall with a friend. We're both females in our early 20s, and we were having dinner. Where I live is generally very safe, and it was only about 8 p.m. on a weekend, so the mall was full. This mall has a plaza-type area with a bunch of restaurants and outdoor seating. Like I said, we were having dinner, and we were sitting outside at one of these restaurants. When we grabbed our seat, I saw this man. He looked to be in his late 40s, a bit unkempt, standing in the plaza smoking a cigarette with two more people. They were very close to the restaurant we were sitting at, and this man immediately gave me a bad vibe. But then I saw him leave, so I didn't think much of it. While we were eating, though, my friend and I noticed that the man had passed by our restaurant a couple times. We started getting a little weirded out, and after paying more attention, we realized that he had been walking around in circles at the mall. We were sitting at a table that we could see exactly what his route was. This plaza is an open area next to the parking lot and movie theater, and his circling was through all of these places. In between the restaurants of the plaza in which he passed by us, heading towards the movie theater, going back through the parking lot, and finally back full circle, again in between the restaurants. He would walk especially slowly when he got close to us, and then a couple times we noticed that his eyes were extremely fixed on us. I mean, it was to the point that his head had to turn to remain fixed on us since he was walking, and he wasn't even trying to hide it. We tried to remain calm, but his circling around the mall had made us uneasy. Who knows what he could have been up to, and the staring really pushed us over the edge. When he was out of sight, we immediately ordered the check. The food had not even arrived yet, and for a moment, I thought we might have been exaggerating a little bit. But I mean, we both had such a bad gut reaction to this guy that we decided not to risk it. We paid for the meal, and then waited to see where he was walking by at the moment, so that we could time it and get to my car when he was far away. As we were getting closer to my car, I started to calm down a little bit, thinking that we got rid of him. That's when, all of a sudden, my friend tells me he's in a small car driving towards us. I really don't know how he got there so fast, since he was walking really slow before, and he was really far away when we got to my car. We both started to panic, and ran the rest of the way back to my car, got in, and locked the doors. I didn't leave immediately, because I feared that he might follow us. He started driving in circles around the area where my car was parked, and then at one point, he stopped his car right in front of mine, and just stared at us. I remember having my hands on the steering wheel, and not breaking eye contact. I guess because it made me feel less uncomfortable than having him stare at me while I was just looking away. At this point, my friend was hiding under the passenger seat, We were both shaking, laughing, and crying, all from the nerves. While she was hiding down there, she called her parents, who were luckily very close to the mall, and they got there within 10 minutes. Just as they were arriving, I don't know if he saw them or not, he sped off and left the mall. We explained to them what happened, and they escorted me back home. I was still afraid that he could be waiting for us near an exit or something. I never knew anything else about this guy. After the incident, I didn't see him for a while. It's a small town, so I've seen him a couple times, but always from really far away. The times I did see him, I always tried to pay particular attention to what he was doing, but I never noticed any strange activity. Thankfully, I haven't seen him in over a year, and luckily I haven't had any other scares with him or anybody else. Hey guys, Scary Stories here. I hope you enjoyed the video tonight. I hope you enjoyed the stories. I'll try and make this real quick, but I did just want to say a few things at the end of this video. Updates for people that stick around to the end, I guess. If you've been here for a minute, you probably remember that I used to use like Silent Hill footage, Fortnite footage, stuff like that. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I'd like to bring it back a bit. Not so... Well, I have a few ideas, but, bring it back a little bit more subtly. Part of what I want to do going forward is injecting more of my personality into these videos. A huge passion of mine is scary stories, cryptids, aliens, all that, but the other huge part of my life and passion is video games. So I have some ideas, and, it's not going to be video game stuff all the time in terms of the visuals on the screen. The audio and the content's going to stay the same, but just slightly different editing choices. Hopefully that somewhat makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun with the shorts that I've been doing, and I've been putting up a lot on TikTok. And that's kind of, I think, let me loosen up a little bit and see that I could maybe be a little bit more loose on here. Not be so rigid and structured with, it's 1, 2, 3 stories, and then that's it. Maybe I can do a couple stories, and then we can talk, or I can show you a spooky video, or, just have fun with it. Anyways, that's just me rambling. I'll let you go now. But yeah, if you made it this far, I really do appreciate you. I really do appreciate you sticking around and listening to me ramble. All right. Have a good night for real now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.